In the office with a special guest that has broken the internet after your announcement. I think I've never seen so many comments so fast. Were you surprised?
So I have to tell you that beyond a shadow of a doubt, it was such a humbling experience. Such a humbling experience. Once we launched that video, prior to, we had the ideas that the video was going to do well. Mm-hmm. We had the idea that people were going to share it and people were going to react well to it. However, what we were not expecting is the amount of genuine love, the amount of genuine support, and that unconditional and unwavering way of expressing their gratitude for me making the decision. Mm-hmm. That it was such a humbling experience. I think the video is now at like 33,000 views.
And 200 something comments and 300
like,
shares.
And like 400 shares, something like that. And the numbers are astronomical. And to me, right, mm-hmm. Besides being a humbling experience, what it truly shows is that we made the correct decision moving forward because it's resonating. It's landing in the hearts of the people mm-hmm. that I am speaking to. It's landing in the hearts of the people that are wanting that great change for the city of Hialeah.
You were born and raised in Hialeah?
Yes. So I was born and raised in the city of Hialeah, uh-huh. But not just that. Something that I want to take it a step further is I am the perfect example of what the city of Hialeah can produce when a man works hard, mm-hmm. maintains his word, and puts God in first place. Okay, I went to school in the city of Hialeah. Okay, I graduated from MDC. Okay, on 49th Street, Miami-Dade College. Okay, and I am the perfect example of what the city of Hialeah can produce, and that's something that's very, very important to me. For the youth, I want to be that person that inspires and motivates the younger generation mm-hmm. to say, if that man did it, so can I.
Yeah. And you have your own company. You're a businessman too.
That's correct.
You're an investor and you're a realtor.
So I'll tell you, so the biggest difference between us and anyone else is that I'm not a politician.
Correct.
Okay? I'm not a politician. I'm a business owner.
Correct.
I'm a businessman. I'm an investor. Okay? And that, beyond a shadow of a doubt, what it does is it gives us the competitive advantage. Mm-hmm. Why? Because the politician mindset is, we're going to raise taxes. That's never the solution. Because what you're doing is you're impeding on the quality of lives mm-hmm. of the individuals that you're supposed to be serving. It's never to raise taxes. The reason why I have the competitive advantage is because as a business owner, I'm able to do more with less.
Correct.
So I look at problems through a solution-driven mindset. Mm-hmm. How can we fix this situation without causing a burden on the people that we're supposed to be serving? Mm-hmm. How can we assess this situation, right, and get a favorable outcome so that the quality of lives of my residents are well taken care of without having to have them reach into their pocket to pay for the government? Because at the end of the day, listen, one thing about me, Mercy, is that I'm never ever going to tell you what you want to hear. I'm going to tell you what you need to hear.
That's what Hialeah needs.
And what Hialeah needs is somebody that's going to tell them mm-hmm. the truth, and the truth is that government doesn't produce anything. Government's job is to lay the rules of the land, mm-hmm. okay, and have a functioning society. But it doesn't produce anything. What it does is it extracts. And with that extraction of capital, they're able to run the city in an efficient manner. Right? What people need to understand is that there needs to be a leader that's going to make the necessary yet tough decisions mm-hmm. to be able to use the funds and allocate the revenue in a responsible and transparent way.
That's what Hialeah needs ASAP. Before we start talking about all these questions I have, the rapid questions I have, I was looking at your Instagram because I like to study people before I sit down with them.
Absolutely.
So in 2023, you started doing social media.
Yes.
But you were more like without a shirt, gym,
Yeah.
a realtor. Oh, you know, I'm the best of the realtor, and you got people's attention. But when you started wearing the suit, is when your Instagram went to another level.
Okay.
But when in 2023, talking about 2023, you were like the playboy, but you always talked about God. Always. And you said God came to your life in 2022. Do you want to explain how that happened?
Absolutely. So, for me, my entire existence is to serve God. Okay? I don't do the things that I do because I'm looking to further my personal agenda, or I'm looking to do wrong by people, or I'm looking to take it. That is not the case in any way, shape, or form. The biggest thing for me is following God's given purpose for my life. If God says this, as much as I may not like it, that's what I'm going to do. If God says that, so even if I don't like it, I have to do what God dictates in my life. Why? Because my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ has saved my life, okay, 3 times. He's saved my life personally 3 times. So I will proclaim the name of Yeshua, Jesus Christ, until the day that I die. Very simply put, and I've realized over time, right, that man may try to do things the way that he wants. And if things don't work out the way that man wants, doing things the way that he wants, then he needs to seek his creator humbly and say, how do you want me to do it? And when he says, hey, this is how I want you to do it, then that's how you actually have to do it. And then the proof of that is when you start acquiring the results. The proof of that is when things start going the way that they're supposed to. The proof of that is when you see not just the mental growth, but the spiritual growth.
Oh, right.
So it's one of those things where, listen, a man that kneels before the Lord can stand up against any man.
Amen. Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Because I have done interviews, and the first thing they said, how's he going to become mayor? He has a video smoking tobacco without a shirt. He has a video with girls in bangs on the beach. And then I was like, no, he doesn't. And I had to look back. I'm like, oh, he does. But then I see you changing.
But you want to know what the best part is? Is that I am so authentically myself that I will never go back and delete those videos.
You shouldn't. That's
because that's the person that has led me to this point. So yes, I do have abs. Yes, I do bench 2 plates, no problem. Yes, I do enjoy smoking cigars. There's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
And you know what the issue is? Is that the residents of the city of Hialeah will look at the contrast between someone that's very, very politician, very correct, but that's unrelatable.
Correct.
That's unrelatable.
And the ones that do that,
inauthentic.
majority of them are corrupted. There's some that I could say they're running for Hialeah. They have the most political Instagram, and I know they do the biggest corruption ever. So I didn't see it that way. I saw your Instagram as a growth. Because in 2022, you started the gym. 23, you were more like showing off. I'm an investor, you know, with the beach with the bathing suit girls. And then in 2024, you started wearing the tux. I was like, oh, this is him growing that stage, because, you know, you're young and you went through the stage, but you always kept the same words. You always talked about God. You always talked from day one Hialeah. You always talked, so I didn't see it as a bad way as your candidates do. I see it as growth, because you always kept it real and you always talked about 100%. God and Hialeah.
100%. And for the record, I've been wearing suits since I was 21 years old. Okay? The whole suit thing didn't just happen. It didn't just happen. In fact, I'll share pictures with you when I was 21 years old.
Oh, well, an exclusive. An exclusive. So you talk about Hialeah a lot, and I know that you've seen all the stuff that's going on in Hialeah. Has that affect you in any way, like the way that you see Hialeah going backwards? Because it's not going forward.
So I think the most important thing for the city of Hialeah is ensuring, okay, that we can continue to have forward progress, right? The city of Hialeah, people refer to it as a city of progress, right? In order to maintain that title, we need to continue to progress. We need to have the proper leadership. We need to have the proper directors. We need to have people that are cumulatively going to come together, okay, and make the right decisions by the city, okay? Because it's very, very important. The biggest thing that we're running on, Mercy, is ensuring that the American dream is alive and accessible in the city of Hialeah so that younger generations have the same opportunities that I had being born and raised in. The city of Hialeah, to me, besides being the center of the universe, okay, it is such a special place.
It is a special.
It's a very special place. It's the only place in the world where you can get anything at any time at a discounted rate anywhere that you go.
That's very
okay,
true.
and while people from the outside looking in badmouth it all the time, I will not stand for it. I will not stand for it. The city of Hialeah, under my leadership, when we win, because I play to win, okay? I'm not running to run. I'm a professional. It's the best or nothing. When I become mayor of the city of Hialeah, the city of Hialeah is going to be respected. It's going to be respected all throughout the county, all throughout the state, and all throughout the nation.
Because right now, Hialeah is kind of like a joke.
No, but that's going to change. You want to know why? It's the second largest economy in Miami-Dade County.
Correct.
Okay? It's the working class people, okay, that came to this country and specifically to this city to seek opportunities that weren't available anywhere else in the world.
Right.
So the people of the city of Hialeah are going to be protected and respected because we deserve it.
Right now it's not respected. Right now there's an issue. I don't know if you know what Cuba Max is.
Okay.
Cuba Max is an agency that works with communists. It works with Cuba. They have right now 5, como 5 o 6 agencias en Hialeah. Bueno, tienen como 40. As the mayor, will you do investigations to see if it's...
100%. We will not participate in any sort of business dealings with Cuban communists. Zero. No nos interesa.
Correct, okay.
No nos interesa.
Bueno, eso.
No nos interesa.
Sí. When I told a lot of people that I was going to sit with you, they wanted to ask about the water issue.
Yes.
Right now... You've seen videos, you even told me that's not unacceptable. The waters are coming out cloudy. Water is very expensive in Hialeah. And Hialeah shouldn't be that expensive because you have your own water department. It has nothing to do with Miami or Miami-Dade. As a mayor, what are you going to do about the water issue? There's babies taking a shower with that water.
In that situation, what the proper leadership does is they go before the people and say, we're aware of the situation. We're launching an investigation. Listen, I'm not a politician. I'm a businessman. Okay, that is a bursted pipe. Okay, that's a bursted pipe. We're launching an investigation. We're checking to see where the issue lies, and our team is working diligently and efficiently to find the solution immediately. We apologize, and we're attending to it as quickly and as efficiently as possible. Because I'm not going to lie to you and pretend like when I become mayor, everything is going to be perfect.
Of course.
There's going to be things that happen, okay? But the most important thing is not grabbing the concerns and pushing them to the side as if they don't exist. That's not leadership.
Yeah.
That's not leadership.
Correct.
It's not leadership. And anybody that thinks that's leadership is like super incorrect.
The mayor, Jacqueline, she just said right now that there was no issues with the water.
So I don't want to speak to anyone specifically because I am a gentleman. And I know that questions are going to come up asking, what do you think about this person? What do you think about that person?
No, I'm not.
But
she said it. There is in Channel 23. She said there was no issue with the water. No one has complained. And Channel 23 went to 7 different neighborhoods, and like 10 people said there is. They've been complaining, and she says it was all a lie.
Again, so I'm a gentleman. I will not speak to anyone else. I can only tell you how I would handle the situation.
Okay.
I would go before the public, and I would tell them that we are addressing the situation, that we are aware of it, and this is the actionable steps that we're going to take to ensure that we fix it, but also that it doesn't happen into the future. Okay? To answer your question about the water bill, right? The elephant in the room that everybody wants to address, but at the end, nobody fixes, right? The situation right now is that if you're in the city of Hialeah and you go outside with your water hose, okay, to water your garden, and it's calculated that you use 5 gallons, okay, they charge the sewage, okay, 10 gallons, basically double on something that's not being put out through the sewer. That is an issue, okay? That is a very big issue. If we need to use artificial intelligence or new technologies or work on the infrastructure, which is absolutely crucial, to ensure that the residents of the city of Hialeah have an accurate water bill, we are going to do it.
Another thing they were complaining about, taxes. Taxes in Hialeah is a little bit pricey for the elderlies.
100%.
What, as a mayor, what are you going to help?
When we become mayor of the city of Hialeah, what we are going to do is ensure that no one over the age of 65 that's been homesteaded in the city of Hialeah for more than 5 years, 0 property tax.
Oh.
Any VA, 0 property tax. Because we care about our veterans.
Yeah.
Okay? Anybody over the age of 65, 0 tax, so long as they've been homesteaded in the city of Hialeah for more than 5 years. What that is going to ensure is that the elderly, the demographic that's living on Social Security, that taxes continue to go up. That's unfair to these individuals.
Correct.
These individuals that are living on a standard income, Social Security, okay, that now their taxes are raised an additional $300 a year, $500 a year, $1,000 a year, $1,500 a year. That's unsustainable, Mercy. Mercy, it's unsustainable. And then that person in that position has to make the choice of whether they're going to eat a can of tuna or they're going to make un bistec con arroz y frijoles negros en su casa.
Yes,
That's not right.
Right.
That's not right. As mayor, I will ensure the quality of lives of every single resident in the city of Hialeah. And then people are going to tell me, oh, but how are you going to supplement the income? Because that's the question, right?
Right.
How are you going to supplement the income? Very easy. Very easy. We have strategic and creative ways of generating income for the city of Hialeah where we can do significantly more with significantly less. So if we generate $100 million less from the taxes of these individuals that are 65 years old, that's fine. Last year, this concurrent year, the city of Hialeah had a budget of $575 million. I want to let that breathe. $575 million. More than $500 million. As a business owner, I know what it takes to build something from nothing. And a big part of that is resourcefulness. Resourcefulness is the ultimate resource. $575 million, you don't have an income problem. You have a spending problem. So we need a professional
to come and check where
to look and say, hey, you're requesting $80 million for here? Okay. You're requesting $17 million from here? Okay. But I want to see an itemized chart of exactly how every single penny is going to be allocated.
Well, there's money wasted right now in pension of Bobo.
So check this out, right? When it comes to that, it's very, very important that we get an itemized breakdown. Why? Because what ends up happening is you have a bid for a job, right? You have a bid where bid number 1 is $1.5 million. And then bid number 2 is $2 million. And then bid number 3 is $6 million. But bid number 3 is the brother sister's boyfriend that he knows the person. Listen, that's not capitalism. We need somebody in the driver's seat that has the ability to negotiate these contracts. And say, hey, listen, what I do for a living is negotiate. You're not going to come here and tell me that the real value of this is $6 million. If that's your final number, please, the door's there. Next.
Correct. That's how it should be.
Because if I can save $4.5 million to the residents and use that $4.5 million to allocate them in different ways, whether it be to parks, whether it be to streets, whether it be to the water department, whatever the case is, then I have a fiduciary responsibility to that. And one thing that I want to mention, okay, which is super, super important. I'm a gentleman, okay? I'm never going to sit here and badmouth anybody. I've got into this position following a code of ethics. And I will not sell out on that code of ethics for nobody or for nothing. I was raised by my grandparents from when I was 3 months old till I was 8. They instilled things in me that we don't see in today's society anymore. Mm-hmm. Integrity, morals, and respect, but most importantly, doing things out of love and being honest.
Correct.
Because a man is honest, especially when it's most difficult. Mm-hmm. That is the truest marker of a high quality man, is when he can look you in the face and tell you the truth, regardless of how it's going to make you feel. Because the truth is superior. The truth is what's needed. The truth is what's going to set us apart so that we can continue to have that forward growth. The most important thing, I'm not running because I've never made $190,000 a year as salary.
That I know.
I'm not running because I owe anybody any political favors. I'm not running because I'm interested in scaling politics or the next position. In fact, I will take it a step further. I am taking a massive risk to my business. I'm taking a massive risk to everything that God has helped me build. But if God is for me, who can be against me? Mm-hmm. So it's one of those things where that is the most crucial question that voters must ask themselves when casting their ballot. Mm-hmm. Why are these individuals running? Are they running because they've never made $200,000 a year? Are they running for monetary reasons? Mm-hmm. Because most people that go into it for the wrong reasons.
Yes, agreed.
Because a man is honest, especially when it's most difficult. Mm-hmm. That is the truest marker of a high quality man, is when he can look you in the face and tell you the truth, regardless of how it's going to make you feel. Because the truth is superior. The truth is what's needed. The truth is what's going to set us apart so that we can continue to have that forward growth. The most important thing, I'm not running because I've never made $190,000 a year as salary.
That I know.
I'm not running because I owe anybody any political favors. I'm not running because I'm interested in scaling politics or the next position. In fact, I will take it a step further. I am taking a massive risk to my business. I'm taking a massive risk to everything that God has helped me build. But if God is for me, who can be against me? Mm-hmm. So it's one of those things where that is the most crucial question that voters must ask themselves when casting their ballot. Mm-hmm. Why are these individuals running? Are they running because they've never made $200,000 a year? Are they running for monetary reasons? Mm-hmm. Because most people that go into it for the wrong reasons.
Yes, agreed. I'm sorry. Hey, Bo, I know you're friends with Bo, but Fayo, he disappointed his community. He let them down. He didn't announce he was leaving until he got paper signs saying that he could get his salary still as a mayor. And he left this poor lady.
I'll tell you this. I personally have sit down with Bovo. Bovo is a gentleman. Bovo's a great leader. Okay? A mango tree is not judged by how beautiful the tree is. A mango tree is not judged by how much shade it gives. A mango tree is not judged by the mangoes it thinks it can produce. Mm-hmm. A mango tree is judged by the results. And the results are the fruit that it bears. Mm-hmm. If you look at the city of Hialeah prior to Bovo, and you look at the city of... Let's be real. Let's be real. Okay? Because you mentioned Bovo. Mm-hmm. I'm not gonna shy away from these questions. I know. I'm not gonna dance around. I'm gonna speak the fact.
Okay.
Okay? I've sat down with him. He's a gentleman.
I didn't say he's not a gentleman.
And he has my respect.
Now,
listen to this. If we look at the city of Hialeah prior to his leadership, and if we look at the city of Hialeah when he left, was there positive growth? Yes or no?
My opinion?
Yes.
No.
We can disagree. If
So
you look
me-
at the street, if you look at the streets,
No.
if you look at the infrastructure, if you look at the community of leaders that he's built, I think that he did a good job.
That part, no, but I haven't been in Hialeah for a long time. And when I went to go sit down with another candidate, I felt like I was in a time zone. I felt like Hialeah never grew, like changed. There was, going to that person's house, there was like 5 business vandalized with wood and covering their windows. There were potholes. There were people like, it was like going back to Cuba. I've been to Cuba, but it was people everywhere selling fruits. I have nothing against that, but I didn't see any changes. I'm sorry. The fire. Ay, Dios mío, yo los nombres, por Dios.
The fire hydrants.
Yes, tan podrido.
If you look there, so there's always room for improvement.
Of course.
Okay? There's always room for improvement, and it's very easy for someone from the outside in to point out all the bad. But if you look at the streets, look at all the streets, 8th Ave, 8th Court, 8th Lane, all of that area is being built out.
No.
Okay. Yeah, but it's still happening.
But
it's still
happening now.
The infrastructure, there's a lot of things. Again, I don't want to speak to anybody specifically.
No, of course.
I don't want to speak to anybody specifically out of respect, right? And following my code of ethics. Mm-hmm. The only thing that I can do and sit here and tell you is how I would handle situations. And the truth is that the way that I would handle situations is better allocating the funds in a way to ensure.
If you become mayor, that's what you... When? Fast or nothing.
We play to win.
Correct. You're mayor today. Are you going to do an investigation on Bobo of all the money that he took?
What money specific? What money are we specific?
He's still getting paid being a mayor, and he's working in Washington. There right now, the Miami Herald just came out that they spent $45 tax money. Money.
How sure are we that those weren't contributions?
That's what I'm asking. Will you do an investigation to see if?
So the biggest thing for us, okay, mm-hmm. When I get into office, I can go and start looking at the past and who did what wrong. No,
that's not in the past. That's happening now.
Listen, pero now I'm not in power now.
Bueno, when you become,
I'm not in power now.
Mayor,
pero let me ask you a question. When we become mayor, right? It's going to be January of 2026. Mm-hmm. Let me ask you a real question. Would it be the best use of my time to look back into the future a year and a half ago to see what happened instead of using my time to better the city into the future? True question.
Do you want to know?
Yes.
Yes, I would.
So you want me to look back?
I want someone to tell me where the money was spent. That's what I want. I want Dodge to come down to Hialeah and see, because I know for a fact there's a lot of corruption. I know you don't want to talk about those stuff because you're a gentleman, pero yo soy la escandalosa. And there is. I am telling you that there's a clique there that they're doing wrong, and I think that God put me in this path to put that light out, because we have now the power of social media. We have now young people that are doing a podcast, and we need to bring this light and bring more people involved in the political world.
This is what I'll tell you.
Yo
sí no voy a permitir bajo ningún concepto que estén viviendo a costilla de los residentes de la ciudad de Hialeah. And I hope that answers your question, because at the end of the day, my fiduciary responsibility is to the people that elect me.
Right.
And those are the voters.
Correct.
And those are the residents of the city of Hialeah.
We went to an event and there was more than 50 people, and they were to complain about traffic, how they're building stuff without the approval of the city, without approval of the community, that they can't take their kids to school. If school starts at 8:30, they have to leave their house at 6. And all the people that were there, they were laughing at them. All of them. The commissioner, one of them didn't arrive, but the commissioner Miami-Dade that has part of Hialeah, they were all laughing at them. If it wasn't because we started speaking on, and no one would have talked, because they were all laughing. They're like, ay, coge un pastelito, coge esto. I want to see Hialeah doing great, like it used to be, and it's not.
Mercy, the most important thing is the results.
Claro.
And I want to assure you that when it does occur, I will never take anything lightly. I will never undermine the intelligence of the individuals that I serve. In fact, I will take it a step further. one prayer that I constantly pray to God is that He doesn't allow for my emotions to get the best of me. That He doesn't allow for me to ever step out of line and not follow the moral compass that He set out in my heart to go out and serve. So I don't know who those individuals are, whether they're laughing or whatever the situation is. I can't. As much as I would tell you, I can't sit here and be, responsible for someone else's actions.
No, I know.
I can only tell you what I would do. And under my leadership, we will create a culture of service. Okay? I couldn't tell you the amount of individuals that I've had conversations with that tell me that when they go to the city of Hialeah, it is an absolute nightmare. That's not going to happen.
They're short on cops. They're short on dispatchers. Everybody keeps on telling me that. Oh, ask him if he's going to do something about the dispatcher. We call the 911 and they don't answer us. Now they have the texting thing, but it takes forever for a police officer to go to...
So I'll tell you this. Jorge Fuentes is running a phenomenal department. Okay? The police in the city of Hialeah, we need to ensure that we can take care of them the way that they take care of us.
Correct.
Okay? The city of Hialeah, there was an independent study done last year that showed that the city of Hialeah is the second safest city in all of Miami-Dade County. And within that independent study, it also showed that a lot of the crime that happens is from individuals from the outside coming in to commit these crimes. So as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, I look to find the solution. What is the solution? Very simple. Right now, the city of Hialeah has really, apart from census, about 300,000 to 350,000. There are currently 300 to 310 police officers. That's about one officer per 1,000. That's a very short staff. They're doing a phenomenal job. They're doing a good, I want to be extremely clear, they're doing a very good job. Second safest city in Miami-Dade County. That's a huge, huge success. Okay? What I would do when I become mayor of the city of Hialeah is ensuring that we can protect them the way that they are protecting us. How do we do that? By making sure that we give them the necessary resources to be able to hire at least an additional 150 to 200 officers. In doing so, it's not going to appear to the residents, oh, they're looking to police us more. No. What it's going to display is to the residents that we have their backs. That we're not going to permit people from the outside coming in to commit these crimes. Not going to happen. Law and order, we're going to run on common sense. We're going to run on common sense. And part of that common sense is looking at the budget and looking at the numbers. Because at the end of the day, it's a math problem.
Correct.
It's a math problem.
It is a math problem.
And I'm a math guy.
Right.
The best or nothing.
Correct.
The best or nothing. So from my humble perspective, it's looking at it, better allocating the funds and saying, this is how we're going to do things. Because I guarantee you that I can do so much more with so much less. And the way that I can ensure that is the people that are asking for these budgets, I want to know if they would spend their own money that way.
That's a good point.
Because if it were your $30 million, how would you spend it? So then why is it any different? Why is it any different for the people that you serve?
Correct.
So that is the culture that we are going to bring into the city of Hialeah. That is the style of leadership that we're going to bring to the city of Hialeah. That is the huge change that is absolutely crucial and necessary to ensure that we continue to grow. Every single employee in the city of Hialeah is going to get training on customer service and solution-driven mindset. 100%. Once I become mayor, that's exactly what is going to occur. We need that customer service because the last thing that I am going to allow under my leadership is that a resident come in with a problem and the person at the city treat them like a nobody, while that person in the city fails to understand that that person that they treated bad is the person that pays for their salary.
Correct. Ahí estamos en punto.
Okay?
It happens in the board meetings. It happens everywhere.
That's not gonna happen under my leadership.
My last question.
Yes, ma'am.
Will you be willing to work with ICE?
I love this question. I love this question because it's the question that everybody shies with.
Everybody.
And they squirm and they say, oh, let me switch. No, I don't switch. This is what I would be willing to propose, okay? I would love the opportunity to have a conversation with Donald Trump and see how we can reinstill wet foot, dry foot, which was a law that was removed by Obama in 2017. Mm-hmm. Because a lot of these countries, Mexico, whatever the case is that we're deporting individuals, these are not full dictatorships. These are not full communist countries. Okay? We can't sit here and negotiate with communists.
Correct.
Okay? So I would have a conversation and I would propose. Okay? I would propose a solution with Donald Trump for us to reestablish the wet foot, dry foot law that was revoked by President Obama so that the individuals in the city of Hialeah that are Cubans can seek that asylum in the city of Hialeah and continue to grow into the future. Simple as that.
Simple as that. I like that. That's a good answer.
Thank you.
My last question, I promise. A lot of people want to meet you.
Okay.
Are you planning to do any events? A lot of people are like, I want to meet him because he's so cool on social media. I want to know if he's like that in person. I'm like, I think he is. But are you planning any events for people to meet you?
So we do have a lot of things, a lot of great events planned. Okay. I couldn't tell you the overwhelming amount of requests for interview and podcast and hey, meet up here. And we will take the time to get through to all of those DMs. We will, because I want to connect with my people. I genuinely care. And I'm going to set a time apart for that. It's important. But yes, absolutely, we're going to have some great events, some great community events for people to come together, for people to meet me, for people to shake my hand, for people to get an essence for my energy, right? Because now you're meeting with me, right? And you can attest to how I actually am in person. This is the way that I am. I'm not going to change for anybody. I'm not going to tailor my message to please anybody. I'm not a politician. I am a leader that's going to take the necessary steps to ensure that the future of the city of Hialeah will undeniably be bright. Because at the end of the day, nosotros somos, yo soy la voz de la nueva generación. Y Hialeah se merece lo mejor. Lo mejor o nada. Tan sencillo como eso.
Also, Hialeah needs protection in small business.
100%.
We need people. Like my business, I had a business next door and it got vandalized. And no one, if it wasn't for Otaola that talked about it, I mean, I didn't hizo caso. And it was nurses.
So I'll tell you this. That's going to come through law and order of more police officers. Okay? And for small businesses, a point that we're going to run on that no one else is going to touch because they don't have the mental capacity to think that way is a department whose primary focus is collaborative relationships between the public sector and the private sector. There needs to be a bridge to close in that gap between the city and small businesses. Small businesses are the backbone of the economy.
Thank you.
Okay? Without small businesses, there is no way for a prosperous future.
Correct.
Okay? So while most people say to themselves, oh, because the situation is that the city of Hialeah is taking 16 months, 18 months, 24 months to open my small business, that is completely unacceptable. Completely unacceptable. Now, what is the solution? I can sit here and tell you how unacceptable it is, but if I can't offer a solution, then it means nothing.
Correct.
The real situation is with Durham. Right? And the water pumps. So a lot of the water pumps in the city of Hialeah, okay, are antiquated and they do not work. Okay, we have a $125 million quote to fix all of the pumps. $125 million is a lot of money. Okay, but we need to find a solution. Okay, I'm a numbers guy. Very quickly. Okay, if we grab, okay, the concurrent year's budget. $575 million, okay? And we allocate 3% of that budget, okay? 3% of that budget, okay? And we multiply that by 4 years, 4-year term, okay? For me, over time, because I own a real estate investment company and I run a private equity fund, A 15% return on my investment is very easy. Okay? A 15% return on that investment brings us close to $80 million. 79.3. When I get there and I can negotiate a $125 million bid, which is an astronomical number that I'm sure it doesn't cost that. If I can bring that figure down to $100 million, $90 million, $80 million, and we can, in a course of 4 years, fix the water pumps and fix the infrastructure so that more businesses can open. Let's say that we were able to open, we're able to fix 80% of the pumps. That's 80% more small businesses that can open. 80% more small and medium-sized businesses that will ensure a prosperous future. And then another thing, in working in the infrastructure, it gives us the ability to go vertical. If you stand in the heart of Brickell and you look up, look at the elevation.
Right.
Incredible. If you go east, it's Miami Beach. Miami Beach is Miami Beach. If you go west, everything in Hialeah is on the ground floor. Now, it's not to say that we're going to turn Hialeah into Brickell. Absolutely not.
Right.
Because I will ensure that the integrity and the culture of the city of Hialeah is preserved. But what people need to understand is that Hialeah has a dire problem. What is that dire problem? That my generation is leaving. They're going to Miami Lakes, they're going to Coral Gables, they're going to Brickell, they're going to Pembroke Pines. And all of that capital is going elsewhere. All of that talent is going elsewhere. All of that energy is going elsewhere, when in reality it should be housed in the beautiful city of Hialeah. So what is the solution to that? Very simple. We're going to create a financial/entertainment district where we're going to raise the density, which will be permitted because the infrastructure will be set, and we're going to motivate and incentivize developers to come in and develop in those specific areas. And for every 100 units that you bring me, you get 1 year of tax abatements.
Oh, wow, I like that. Oh, vaya, me voy para allá.
Who else is talking about this?
No one is. No one is.
No one. No one is. Everyone is talking the same talking points. They're doing this, they're doing that. They don't tell you how they're going to do it. They're going to squirm from questions. They're going to avoid the hard pressing stuff. I'm ready for whatever.
Well, my last question. I promise my last question. HOA.
Yes.
Hialeah has a huge HOA problem with fraud.
Yes.
As the mayor.
Yes. As the mayor.
Are you going to be helping these poor residents with the HOA?
100%.
Because we won a case now because we started attacking the president and the sheriff got involved. But I see that in Hialeah they don't have commissioners, but we don't see that nobody gets involved helping these people with the HOA.
For the city of Hialeah, any HOA, okay, so now we have our Doge department.
Goodbye, please.
The Doge department under my leadership will run flawlessly.
Why do you say that?
Because I'm a numbers guy. So if I can oversee the Doge department and see the numbers, it's just math. Okay? If we can use that Doge Department of Government Efficiency, to launch investigations towards any HOAs that have complaints, you have to show us your books.
Right.
You have to show us your books. Okay? You have to show us your books. And then at that point, if we launch investigations and we see that the numbers aren't adding up, we'll call for an immediate dissolution of that HOA. And we will offer the opportunity to an HOA that's exemplary, that's running the show the right way, and we'll have them come and take over that building. And offer their framework that is working to the framework that's not working, remove the framework that's not working, implement the framework that is working, and ensuring that the condominiums and the owners that live in those buildings are well taken care of and represented. Absolutely. And criminal charges against everybody and anybody that's willing to commit fraud and steal. 100%.
Thank you so much for coming.
Absolutely.
I know you're a very busy person, so thank you so much for coming and taking the time and answering all these questions.
I will tell you in closing, the amount of requests for interviews and podcasts has been astronomical. He'll tell you, I wanted you to be the first person to interview me
Thank you.
after officially announcing, because I respect the work that you're doing.
Thank you.
I respect what you guys do, and I appreciate how you're bringing the community together to fight injustice. Very important.
Thank you.
So what you're doing, I hope that you don't take it lightly. I hope that you really lean into it, because apart from being very gifted, the world needs it. So thank you for what you do.
It's not easy, because they have gotten screamed at I'm communist and everything. And I was like, oh my God, I breathe. But I always say I pray. As a Christian too, I go to a church on Sundays. I'm like, please God, give me some patience, because I'm about to break someone's head. But bueno, we have it here. So again, thank you so much for coming. And sorry for those questions.
No, I love them.
Thank you for your honesty, and we have it recorded. So si sa hand ko, boy, mira, con the recorded there.
Guys, follow me on Instagram
Yes.
at Marc Anthony Salvat, MARC Anthony Salvat, SALVAT. Y para mi comunidad latina, okay, estamos aquí para servirle. Humildemente, con el corazón, tengo un corazón sensible para las necesidades de la ciudad de Hialeah. Y les garantizo que conmigo vamos a progresar de una manera que nunca se ha visto. El de ustedes, el rey de Hialeah.